Alright, it's time for a rock metal update. That sounds familiar. I think I stole that. Never mind, let's move it on. Alright, hey, Jeff here. So, I wanted to show a couple things that came in a couple days ago. After actually the last video I made, like that same day, later that day. Actually, I made like 3 videos in one day, but actually later that day some records came in. But you know, I was waiting for another one to come in before I did a video, so that it wouldn't be even as short as it is now. But anyway, so let's get right to it. So I'm on Discogs looking for an album. It's an album that I'm going to show in my next video, because I'm going to dedicate the next video that I make to this particular band. And so I'm on there looking for a record, and so then, you know, you get on Discogs and it says they also have other things that you're interested in from your want list. So I click it and go over there and I start scrolling through, and I find something that wasn't on my want list, but you know, you look at what they got and you look at their prices, and I found something that I was like, okay, you know, I remember a little about that band. And so I went, and the price was right, and the condition was good, so I thought I'd take a shot. So I picked up Rogue Mail First Visit. I don't know which one of these is going to be better light-wise. Now, I remember this band. This is back in the 80s. And I remember seeing them mentioned in Kerrang! Magazine, places like that. And I always thought the singer looked kind of odd. He's got this, like, very much mullety haircut. Do they have a band picture? No. And then when I checked them out, I forget how I checked them out, because this will be back in the 80s when there was no online or streaming or anything. But at some point I checked them out and just wasn't impressed enough to pick them up. I couldn't remember exactly why. So price was right, condition was right. I went ahead and grabbed this. Got it home. Have spun it a couple times, and I realize now that, I mean, you know, it's nothing super fancy, not horrible though. Reminds me a bit of Motorhead-ish. So it's kind of got that raw vocals, kind of a, it's kind of metal, kind of punkish, but you know, anyway, and it's just rough and gruff, So very much reminded me of some Motorhead stuff. So, you know, I'm like, okay, that explains it, because back in the day, I was more into the melodic vocals, and so this type of vocal style is probably kind of turned me off. But, you know, it's neat to have. Not sure if I would rush out and buy a lot of their other stuff, but, you know, wanted to go ahead and check them out, got it for a good price, so did that. Now, one of the other things that came in, and I know I'm late to the game on this, but I wanted to grab it before they disappeared. It's a reissue that just came out like last year on vinyl, for the first time on vinyl, and doing this for Scott Waters, yeah, because it's one of his bands, Heretic. So you know, he's talked about him a lot, and he you know, is a big fan, and he had a lot to do with this reissue. So I went ahead and picked up a copy of that, and you know, he's done all of the. Well, no, actually the cover, okay, yeah, layout by Scott. So, you know, it was just reissued. I think it's their, 2012 release or something in the early 12. It's like a return. And yeah, I've had it digitally, and I forgot how I got it, but I've listened to it quite a bit. So, I think I grabbed this from Boone's Overstock. I think because of the cheap shipping recently or something. Anyway, I just thought, you know, I need to go ahead and get a copy of this. So I grabbed that. And then, you know, thrash metal. It's funny because I just was talking to Steve over at Harmless Rebel. He showed this in his video that I watched today, made yesterday. But it was just funny because I'm like, that's funny because I was just about to show that. So here it is. So I went ahead and got this thrash classic. That was all that I had that I was going to show on this, but I did want to bring up, if you're familiar or you've been watching on social media for like the past week, last week, Bob Kulick died. Bob is the brother of Bruce Kulick, who played with Kiss, has been around. And Bob Kulick, I guess, is, for people who are Kiss fans, was well known as being the guitar player that at times had substituted for Ace when he wasn't in the studio. So, the stories behind the songs, Bob plays guitar on this song and this song and this song because Ace wasn't around. So there were times back in the late 70s and early 80s, I guess, where Bob was pulled in as a studio musician. But he's done a lot of other bands and stuff over the years, and honestly, I only own one, and that's the Skull release. That's him right there. And like I say, he passed away last week, if I'm not mistaken. It was all over the internet. So, it's sad. I totally don't recall when I got this or why I got this. I got it strictly because he's in the band. I think I pulled it up online, listened to it, and I bought it probably on Discogs. Again, probably one of those things where I was looking at what people were selling, and I saw that, and I said, hey, that's, Bob Kulick. I don't know anything about it. Let's pull it up and listen to it. I said, oh, yeah, I dig that. It's like straightforward 80s hard rockish, sleaze rock, that kind of, not really, I don't want to say hair metal. It's not that clean and squeaky. It's more just, solid, hard rock. So,
You build me up, you tear me down. You took my heart and soul and threw them on the ground. If I were lost, oh, you give me hope. Then you turn around and say you can't go.
yeah, so I pulled that out and gave it a spin again, just because of him passing everything. So, anyway, that's all for this. The next video is going to be mainly pertaining to some Christian rock stuff, and so I figured I'd separate that out since, not all of my audience goes with all styles. So that's it for now. I will be back. In the meantime, be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Rock on!